First things first, Gregory. How are you?
I'm great, and glad to be in Amsterdam again. This is it's been one of the places that have elevated my career. So yeah, it's great to be here.
Okay, well, before I go into the record, I'd like to go to something else. You grew up in Bakersfield?
Yeah, Bakersfield.
California?
Yes,
And I read somewhere that you recently moved back.
I did. I recently moved back to be around. The majority of my family is still there, so it's cool to be, have lunch with my sisters when I'm in town, and yeah, nice to have them there to support my family, and yeah, it's nice.
Did it bring back a lot of memories going back there?
Absolutely. My mother's energy is there. She's been gone, 20 years now, but her energy is still on all the streets that we travel together. And it's where I learned how to sing and express myself musically. And in a way, the energy that I took from Bakersfield and took to Brooklyn and to Harlem is in a way of a melding of maybe different styles and different musical approaches. And with those experiences and those different places, it comes out to be the current me, but without either of them, without Bakersfield, I don't think I am the artist I am now. If I'm without Brooklyn, without Harlem, without these experiences, I'm not that.
So in that sense, do your surroundings have a big influence on the music that you make at that point?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Take Me to the Alley is really about my particular streets in Bakersfield. When I was a child, the way my mother would sometimes drive down the street and she would see somebody that needed some type of help, and she would stop and give them help. That's just what she did. And so it's a personal story, but it's a universal story of being charitable, thoughtful, and respectful of other people. It's not, but it's not, the song doesn't even sound like a lesson song. Let me teach you something that you're not doing, It's just good music, but there's a nugget of goodness in there, yeah.
And your mother, if I'm correct, was a minister?
Yeah, she was a minister, and she was also a nurse, and she did real estate as well.
So that kind of charitable giving, and then so that was instilled into you at a very early age.
Yep. I would have to say, I think, the energy of my mother comes out in my music and painted on canvas in 1960 and on my way to Harlem, and I hear her a lot in my lyric. No Love Dying, for sure. So.
And for this record, then Take Me to the Alley, I believe there's two songs written for your mother, and one in particular.
Yeah. Well, Take Me to the Alley is definitely her energy. More Than a Woman is a song that really, for the listener, it can straddle both, romantic love, but for me, it's really the women in my life. My mother, foremost. The places emotionally they can take you is almost supernatural in a way, and so what I'm saying is more than a woman. She's which is no small thing, but then even higher than that. So she never walked on water. She never turned that water to wine, but being around her made my blind eyes see. The lyric is just about being around her. I learned to discover a love for people and I think it comes across in my music. Yeah.
So when you started on these songs, was it back in Bakersfield that you started thinking about the new record and started writing?
Even just thinking about, I had been thinking about moving back for almost a year.
Okay.
Just playing with the idea. And playing with the idea had me thinking about the experiences of family, the experiences of environment, place. So yeah, I think even just, but yes, I had before I went into to record the record, I had purchased the house but not moved in
Okay.
yet.
And well, you mentioned this experience of family, and then obviously the last couple of years have been very good to you musically, and then with your career. But does that take a toll on that side, on time spent with family?
It does, and I think maybe some of the lyric is in the record is expressing that. You know, I begin to hate time and distance because it keeps me away from you. You know. That's the lyric of Consequence of Love, the bridge of Consequence of Love. So I'm thinking about those people and those places that I miss. You know, my family, my favorite coffee shop, my record player. I miss all of that. Mostly my family, mostly, you know, my son. That being said, even writing a song to him, Don't Lose Your Steam, that maybe can come in a stronger way because I value the time that I have with him so much. You know, he, you know, when I'm home and he runs his fingers through the spaghetti and squeezes it, and you know, it really doesn't bother me because I enjoyed that experience of him being a child and childlike and asking for ice cream 10 times a day and expecting to get it. You know, I like the idea that the world is play for him. You know, a bowl of fruit is not a bowl of fruit. A bowl of it's a bowl of balls that he should throw across the room. You know, I like this idea of his optimism and his play, and that is captured in the song Daydream. So I think going back to a song like Don't Lose Your Steam, I'm not around him as much as I want to be, but I want to instill something in him that he carries with him, like I have gotten something from my mother that I carry with me.
So maybe for in the future, when because obviously he can listen to it now, but then later on he can kind of listen to the words. And
Yeah, he'll listen to the words. You know, who knows? You know, maybe, you know, he's very musical, so maybe he'll sing with. Who knows? He'll sing with me or play drums on it. Who knows? Who knows?
Okay. But well, you mentioned obviously becoming a father. Has that changed your approach to the music?
It is maybe enriched the palette of my environment. He's an enormous, beautiful explosion in my environment in terms of my emotional environment and even my physical environment. I'm home, and he comes, you know, with the family. They come sometimes to see me overseas. And they're with me when I tour in the U.S. as well. So, yeah, I mean, yes, thinking of him and realizing, you know, that this experience is a universal one.
Sure.
You know, it's you know, even if you don't have a son, in a way, I'm also writing the song because I'm thinking that was something I wish I would have had from my father. You know, these kind of words. So. Yeah, it has changed me. I never was in my music, you know, desiring to say anything stupid, but I'm really thinking about the nuggets that I leave him behind.
Right.
What is he going to hear? What is he going to think of me? So yeah.
And well, you mentioned your own father, and you have talked about this about him not being there.
Yeah.
How do you look back on it now, than being a father yourself?
I think I try to. I have to be careful because sometimes I can overcompensate. You know, I don't want to spoil him. I don't want to, let him have anything he wants. You know, sure. Give him 10 ice cream cones. You know, I don't want to do that, but I definitely want to let him know he's special to me, I do know that touring, you know, nearly, 300 days out of the year will not always be, I'll have some time and we'll have some real quality time together. Right. And I enjoy the time that we have now. It's just, and he does too. It's really quite amazing.
And one last thing about your own father. I read somewhere that you discovered that he actually had a good voice.
Yeah. I heard a recording of him singing once, but never heard him sing live. And really it was at his funeral that people, person after person, got up and said, you know, he was just a great singer and great speaker. And it wasn't until really an interview and somebody, I just never thought about it. I never thought about it. And it wasn't until an interview somebody said, where did you get your singing voice? And my mother had a beautiful operatic style of singing. But, you know, they went on and on about my father singing. So I was, you know, I had to say, I got it from my father, you know, and even though he didn't give me a lot, he gave me, you know, the very things that is, you know, supporting my family now. So he gave me a lot.